You didn't sneak into the country. You're not undocumented. You're not an illegal, as is in our political process or parlance now. You have sponsorship through the hospital, but you applied for a green card. And in the middle of this, it gets turned down. They don't give you any better reason than you didn't prove that you represent any unique value to the United States. And when I heard this, it kind of blindsided me, because other than being from Norway, you seem to be exactly who the president has said he wants in this country.
Overseas students who attend schools offering only online classes in the fall, like Harvard, must leave the country or transfer to a school with regular in-person classes. Now, students with visas who are not yet in the U.S. will also be barred from entering.
Inside this old warehouse in South Texas, the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol is keeping hundreds of immigrant children in cages created by metal fencing. The U.S. Border Patrol on Sunday allowed us to briefly visit this facility where it holds families arrested at the southern U.S. border, responding to new criticism and protests over the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy and resulting separation of families.
So when this COVID pandemic hit and then I got denied, you know, all these people were saying, well, we don't need you. We have plenty of Americans to do this. And I said, well, where are they?
Right.
You know, I volunteered to the front line. I don't see them, you know, right. And so it was frustrating for me. And, you know, I normally don't feel, I usually try to keep my cool with stuff like that. And I can get irritated, but I definitely don't ever feel helpless. I always feel like I can figure this out. I'll make it work. You know, I am my own boss, et cetera, et cetera. At that point in time, I truly felt helpless because I was like, what else can I do? What else can I be? How much more can I prove to you that I'm worth keeping here? After college, I actually took a year off and moved to Kenya. And that's where I decided whether or not I wanted to be a doctor. So I did my secondary applications for medical school from Kenya. I took my MCAT before I left, just in case. And then I did my secondary applications from a mud hut in Kenya, which made for great writing of a secondary of my statement, my personal statement. But Kenya like really solidified the whole like I want to take care of people. I'm a protector. Like this is what I love to do. And it was worth it to me because I was tired after college. Everyone just kind of banded together and covered each other, which was amazing. But one of the patients that two people stuck with me a lot. One of them was a fellow attending physician who had done surgery on a COVID positive patient and then got COVID. And so he was terribly sick. And it was just, that's when I felt like, oh my God, this could happen to me too, you know, because we're there taking care of people and you think I'm healthy, I should be okay, but you know, you never know. And so seeing him get sick was really tough for me because that's one of my colleagues, you know, and he would have been otherwise fine if he wouldn't have taken that case. And so that was, you know, pretty traumatizing. Another one of our colleagues did commit suicide. I don't know if you heard about the ER doctor who committed suicide. And she had gotten COVID and actually gotten over it. And I think just was so overwhelmed with just the hours that we were working and the distress and the death and the, you know, I don't think people in the rest of the country can understand what New York was going through, you know, in March and April. It was just, everyone had COVID. Everyone that was in the hospital had COVID, and it looked terrible. And it wasn't just old people, like people kept saying. It's, you know, my youngest patient, besides some of the pediatric cases that have had like this, like Kawasaki like disease that we've seen, my youngest patient was 24, migrant worker. So he did not have health insurance. He came in, he had COVID. He had ARDS, he had multi-system organ failure, and then had a cardiac arrest.
Oh my God.
24. Wow. And no comorbidities, nothing. He didn't have a septal defect. He didn't have any history for why he should have had all of these problems. Didn't have a clotting disorder, nothing. And so he's the one who actually stood with me the most because this poor child just kept trying to die on us, you know? And it's like, what are we doing wrong? You question, like, am I missing something here? Because why should somebody who's otherwise so healthy, you know, be getting so sick and not healing the way we expect them to? And it's just because it's something we've never seen before. To that, and I appreciate them reopening the case, but it just goes to show that there's a lot of cracks in the system. There's a lot that needs to potentially change, and I think that this whole concept of demonizing immigrants or demonizing immigration is a terrible idea. And then when I went on with Cuomo on CNN, it was very much, you know, to try to just illuminate the fact that this is not an easy procedure. I speak perfect English. I'm from a country that speaks English. I trained in this country. You know, I have no criminal records. I did everything the right way. I used an immigration lawyer from a very reputable firm, and yet I still got denied. And so some people fall through the cracks. And I think just being able to bring light to that fact and hopefully educate some people on the fact that this is not an easy procedure. And we are not out to try to steal anybody's jobs. We're simply trying to make a life for ourselves, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
You know, you look at the three of us and you go, I don't know who the immigrant is. I don't know who the American is. You can't tell, right? Because this is a multinational or a multicultural country.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Everyone is from everywhere.
Everyone is from everywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody was born here. You know, you follow your lineage down. The only people that were born here are the Native Americans, right? So all of us came at some point. It's just some of us came a little bit later. And I think being able to recognize that and using that as a human notion is what's going to make immigration better in this country. You know, it's not an us versus them situation. It is an us all together, one world. You know, let's figure out how to do this best. You want us to do it legally? Happily. But make it palatable. Make us able to do it. Don't make it so expensive. You know, I had to shell out that much money. Can you imagine a migrant worker trying to shell out $20,000?
Insane.
It's impossible. So of course they're going to try to sneak across the border. They don't have a lawyer. They don't speak English as their first language. Those documents are very difficult to understand.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's the cracks. You fall through the cracks. It happens.